Wow. Wow. 13 runs. How's it going, Mets fans? The Amazing start things off in a 3-game set against the Nationals in the best way, the best fashion possible by winning 13-5. What a massive offensive clinic that was tonight's game, guys. We got so much to break down from this game for the Amazings, folks. Another game, another win. 4 straight, the Mets' longest winning streak of the season thus far. They are now, 33-17 on the season? This team is just on another level. So excited, so pumped up. I know you guys are too. Yes, I'm aware of the opponent, but it doesn't change the fact of how impressive tonight was and how impressive Nick Plummer was. Another day, another bomb from Plum God. We got so much to deep dive. Like I said, I'm pumped up. I know you guys are too. My New York Ranger fans out there, we are less than 3 minutes away to heading to the Eastern Conference Finals. So if you're a Rangers and a Mets fan, tonight is your night the way it is my night. Hope everyone, again, is having a phenomenal time. I know not everyone's a Ranger fan, so please don't get too offended. But I'm very happy, not just because of the Mets, but also my Rangers right now up 6-2 with 2 minutes or so left. But guys, how we feeling, Mets fans? Smash a like and subscribe on. What a beautiful game for the Mets. One that didn't start off pretty by any stretch, but you just know with this offense, all it takes is for them to get that easy shot to at least have a chance to come back. And they did exactly that. So guys, we'll be deep diving again, everything that there is to know about this game, the highs, and there were quite literally little to no lows. So basically just the highs. What is my top 5? How did the lineup look overall for the Mets? And what can we expect from them potentially going forward? Along with, of course, answering your donations, your comments, your questions, and concerns once I cut things off for people on replay. So, yeah, a lot of deep dive. Let's get into it, folks. I'm just so pumped up. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the man, the myth, the legend that is, yes, Nick Plummer? I mean, what were they calling him? Tricky Nick out there in left field? I love that. Plummer, again, who had that massive home run for the Mets to tie the game in the bottom of the 9th against the Phillies. Speaking of the Phillies blew it again today. It's so funny. Knebel, for his 2nd straight day, blew it there in the top of the 9th. Then the bottom of the 9th, Kyle Schwarber hit a home run to tie it. And then they gave up a bomb to Kurt Casale to the Giants. A 2-run shot in the 10th, and that's how the Phillies lost. They are down bad. The Mets now are 11.5 games up on the Phillies. They have basically single-handedly ended their postseason opportunity before it basically even started. Let's be honest here. So pumped up again, guys. So let's break down this game. Let's talk about this offensive clinic that was a 13-5 victory for the Amazings. Again, guys, if you're just chiming in, please make sure to smash that like and subscribe button. And yes, I do know Luis Guillorme did have himself. I know I always mess up something here. No, Guillorme only had 2 hits. Guillorme did not have 3. He had 3 runs scored, however. At least that's what it's telling me here through Baseball Savant. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, wait, Guillorme did have 3 hits, didn't he? You know what? Maybe you're right. I think Guillorme honestly did have 3 hits. If he did, then that's my mistake, because Baseball Savant, that I get my numbers from usually when I edit it, that's the issue here. So if Guillorme did get 3 hits tonight, then okay, that's not a problem. But yes, Rangers won the heading of the Eastern Conference Finals. What a night to be a Rangers and a Mets fan, guys. But guys, let's just talk about this game. My apologies again if I was off with Guillorme's stat there by a hit. I don't know why that happened. Again, I should have been better. If that was the case, I do apologize. But for whatever reason, that does tell me, of course, that it is 2 of 4. But guys, let's talk about the Mets win tonight. We got to do it. The Mets, of course, in the top of the first, we had David Pearson, southpaw on the mound. Okay, he did have 2 hits, so I wasn't wrong, okay? I didn't think I was wrong. I'm glad I'm not. I see the donations. Thank you guys so much for them. I'll be addressing them soon. Don't worry. But guys, in the top of the first, the Mets got off to a shaky start. David Pearson could not command the strike zone well, got a little squeezed on some calls. But before you know it, the Mets were already down by a couple runs. Josh Bell, who's been killing the Mets all season long, found himself with a 2 RBI double, an early lead there for the Nationals, but that did not last long. That is for certain. You saw what happened after that. Then Lane Thomas gets himself an RBI sac fly in right field. And just like that, the Nationals somehow, some way are off to a 3-0 victory. They're acting cocky early and stuff. And I was kind of biting my tongue a little bit just because I was like, you know what? This is a Mets team. In the beginning of the game, I'm by no means worried, even if David didn't have it today. And by all means, David Pearson really got himself back together after that 30-pitch first. I was really proud of him. He gave the Mets strong 4.2 innings, 4 earned runs, 6 hits. I blame the wave for the last run he gave up. You can't tell me otherwise. 1 strikeout on 88 pitches, but he got the job done for the Mets because as we got to the bottom of the first there, folks, the Mets started to pile on. They had Luis Gourmet lead off once more, and Gourmet was there specifically because of the fact that, yes, WardyNYM was once again out with injury, but that wasn't a problem because Gourmet, again, one of the biggest players for the Mets throughout how long now. He's been so clutch, not just with the offense, but this man was single-handedly a wizard defensively. He was everywhere defensively for the Mets today, and without him, I don't know where the Mets are right now. Gourmet has been that pivotal to the Mets, not just offense, but their defense for weeks on end now this season. I'm so proud of this man. Luis the Wizard Louis. I love his walk-up song as is, but he starts off the bottom of the first, doing what he does best, getting on base as the leadoff hitter. He gets a base hit there to start things off in the bottom of the first. Then you get Starling Marte, who had a phenomenal game for the New York Mets with a single. Francisco Lindor with an RBI single, and Jeff McNeil with an RBI ground out. And yes, Jeff was really frustrated because that was an RBI ground out, a double play, when if that didn't happen, the Mets may have at least tied the game there in the bottom of the first. However, it was still awesome to see the Mets already scored 2 runs there after being down by 3 in the top of the first. So then, folks, we get to the second, and again, that continues to change in good fashion for the Amazings, folks. Again, hype in the chat. Continue smashing that like and subscribe button to my Mets fans. Help us get 100 likes for the first short-term goal if we're not there already, and help us get, of course, to 16K subs for the next short-term goal here on WardyNYM. Again, guys, let me know your thoughts in the chat right now. I'll be getting all your comments, questions, donations, all that fun stuff very soon here. But then we get, of course, to the second for the Mets, and this is a laundry list because the Mets had so much offense today. Mark Hanna with a base knocked to start things in the second. Then you get Nick Plummer, Plum God, Tricky Nick, whatever you want to call him, an RBI double. His second RBI in as many games for the Amazings ties the game up 3-3 apiece, but that wouldn't be all. Luis Gourmet would then tack on with an opposite field RBI single to give the Mets a 4-3 lead, and they would never look back. Starling Marte pimps a no-doubt 2-run shot to left, and that gives the Mets a commanding, already at that point, 6-3 lead over, yes, that being in the Nationals. Lindor with another base knock. Guys, Francisco Lindor already has 40 RBIs. He didn't get 40 RBIs until September of last season. He's at an MVP pace. He's at a 100-plus RBI pace. Francisco Lindor is on pace for the best season of his entire career. So for all those Lindorks out there, for all the people that simply do not like this man because of his contract, I'm sorry, this is his first year under the new contract, and he's performing to it. So I don't want to hear any of that nonsense. Lindor has been so damn good for the Mets, and he didn't just have that knock there. He also had himself a stolen bag today too. But then we get there to the third. The Mets already have a 6-3 lead. They continue to tack on. Mark Hanna leads things off for at least with 1 out, gets on base with a walk. Tomas Nido gets himself a nice base knock. Luis Gourmet walks because he's just an on-base machine. This man is otherworldly for the Mets right now, as is this entire offense. Starling Marte, for a second consecutive inning, gets the Mets 2 RBIs. This time not with a home run, but also this time it would be with, yes, a single. 2 RBI single for Marte, his 4th RBI of the day already. Francisco Lindor would then tack on another RBI single for the Mets. And just like that, with ease, they are already up in impressive fashion in this one, 9-3, only in the 3rd inning, folks. This game felt so long, and it actually sped up pretty well after the Mets got off to that 9-3 lead there in the 3rd. But just absolutely nuts the amount of runs that they scored, how long the game felt in the beginning. It was just ridiculous, left and right, between the defensive miscues, the great defensive plays by the Mets, the poor start for them with David Peterson, and then the offense just tacking on one after another, after another, after another. It was just relentless. It just kept going, and it was just nonstop, and how can you not love that? I mean, honestly. And the best part is after the 3rd, the Mets weren't even done then. They simply weren't. And again, shout out to my Ranger fans, guys, in the chat. We love to hear that. Shout out to the New York Rangers. They're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm so pumped up for them, too. I'm not sure when I'll be able to record my next Rangers pod with Statboy Steven at the Rangers Review channel. In case you guys don't know, I do have a New York Rangers podcast. I'm not sure when I'll be able to do my next pod, but hopefully sooner rather than later, because I'm flying out tomorrow morning in North Carolina for a couple of days. So not exactly sure how the schedule is going to look, but we're going to try our best. No less, the Mets get to the 4th inning, bottom of the 4th, and they tack on more. Another inning, another time where we get a guy on early, and that is Eduardo Escobar with his first base knock of the night. Eddie didn't have the best day at the plate, but again, it was great to see him barrel the ball well there. Mark Hanna getting on base again. He did so well in this game and has done so well throughout his entire career. Gets on base, 2 on, and then Nick Plummer goes to Oppo for a 3-run bomb, his second home run in as many games. 4 RBIs on the night for the rookie. Nick Plummer, how you doing, baby? Tricky Nick. Look at that swing. That is Michael Conforto 2.0 right there, but with even more power. It felt like you were passing the torch from Michael to Nick tonight, guys. That's how it felt. And what are we seeing early with Nick Plummer, guys? Regardless of the opponent, you really start to think maybe the Mets just have themselves a lightning rod in the bottle here. Maybe, just maybe, the Mets have themselves their lefty power bat at the DH/outfield position that all of us Mets fans were hoping that they would acquire heading into the year. Maybe, just maybe, the Mets will not need to do anything drastic on the offensive front come the deadline, because maybe Nick Plummer is in fact the answer. Again, it's against the Nationals. It's early, but let's not deny this. Nick Plummer already has more home runs than Dom Smith and J.D. Davis combined this season, folks. I think that needs to be acknowledged. Let's not act silly here. Like, seriously. He already has more bombs than both of them, and that is no fluke. They both have played against the Nationals, and they haven't done nearly enough. So give credit where credit's due. Nick Plummer, even against a lesser opponent, has taken full advantage early of the opportunities given to him, knowing that Travis Jankowski is out for 2 months or so, 5 weeks at minimum as of now with his injury. I feel for Janky, I really do, but I'm so proud of Plummer to come out and ball out for the Mets with ease so far. And again, folks, my apologies. I know that my visuals are probably bad right now. You know the drill. In case you don't, my Wi-Fi has been up and down the past week. It'll be better, hopefully, once I'm back from my trip from North Carolina as well. And I'll be keeping you guys up to date on everything regarding that trip. Because in case you guys don't know, I will be with a great group of the best YouTubers out there for baseball/sports overall. And we're playing a couple baseball games against professionals, that being the Burlington Sock Puppets and, yes, the Disco Turkeys for Salem. And they're both really, really good. And I haven't played any professional ball, any serious baseball in my life. And I'm expected to face 90+ mile per hour heaters in a couple days. So that's going to be electric. But again, make sure to check that out. I'll have links to where you can watch the live streams and all different forms of content throughout the next couple days here this week regarding that trip. It's going to be electric in case you guys don't know about it. Also would like to wish everyone a very happy Memorial Day. I did that earlier for my series preview. Wanted to acknowledge it once more. What a phenomenal Memorial Day it was here in the sports land, but also thinking about the ones who, of course, gave the ultimate sacrifice for this great nation. So again, thoughts, prayers, and thinking about you all today as always. But Mets with the offense, they tacked on big, folks, thanks to that Plummer home run. At that point, they just had such a commanding lead. 12-3 was a score at that point. And yes, the Nationals would tack on a couple more runs after that, with the likes of Josh Bell with an RBI single in the 5th. Then the likes of Cesar Hernandez with an RBI single in the 6th. But then Pete Alonso, Big Meat Pete, who hasn't done anything this game. Let's not forget, guys, the Mets went a total of 12 runs scored in this game without a hit from Jeff McNeil or Pete Alonso. Like, are you joking? Like, are you really joking? Not a hit from either of those guys yet. And then Pete, doing a little stat padding there in the 8th with a lefty reliever, just takes one for a little bit of an Oppo bomb to give the Mets another run. His solo shot, his 30th RBI of the month of May. No, not his 30th RBI of the season, his 30th RBI of the month. Pete Alonso on May 30th, guys, was on an RBI per day pace for the entire month of May. Can we just take a moment to appreciate that? You know how difficult that is, guys? That's absolutely crazy. So nuts. So proud again, though, of Pete Alonso and this entire Mets offense. They win in such a dominant fashion. 13-5 tonight, folks. Wardy's top 5. It has to be Nick Plummer, Plum God, Tricky Nick, whatever you want to call him. 3 for 4 with the home run, the 4 RBIs, the 2-run score, and the double. We take that to the bank every single day of the week. Give me more playing time with Nick Plummer, please. I'm already trusting this lefty bat more than I have trusted Dom all year long. I want him in either the outfield or, of course, at DH. Just give him playing time. Let's see it continue. Especially against a lesser opponent in the Nationals, I think it's that much more important to have someone like Plummer in there and continue to try to build his swing early in the bigs. He's off to a great start. Let's see it continue. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Plummer, man. He really might be something special for the Mets that not a whole lot of Mets fans expected. Now, Plummer when the Mets acquired him. I knew he had that Michael Conforto-esque swing. If you even look at my tweets, I tweeted about it back in November last year when they acquired him, and we talked about it briefly on the channel. But Plummer, he's raw. He honestly looks like a creative player, like through MLB The Show when he's up there. He has a tight strike zone. He's really scoring down, but the follow through with that swing, the two-handed swing, not dropping the hand, that is Conforto-esque in a nutshell, but you can tell that he has the bigger upper body, the bigger mold for more raw power. And the fact that Plummer hits 2 bombs in back-to-back days, why is that so impressive for me again? As I just said, J.D. Davis and Dom Smith don't even have 2 home runs combined so far this season, folks. Nick Plummer has done this in 2 days. Literally in 2 games, not even a full 2 days, right? Just a 24-hour span. That's how good Nick Plummer has been over the past 24 hours. I will take that to the bank. Shout out to you, Tricky Nick. I really hope that this is not the last that we see of you getting consistent playing time. And man, oh man, talk about taking advantage of the opportunities given to you. Jankowski out for weeks. They know that Plummer, it's his time to give a shot. Clearly, who's been up and down so far this year in AAA, got sent to single A, then back up with AAA. Jake Mangum is looking great since being called up in AAA for the Mets. However, they really know that Nick Plummer is that guy. He's the most MLB-ready player for them thus far from AAA, and he's proving it quickly for the Mets. That has to feel good for us fans. I know it does for me too. But guys, Plummer has to be my number 1 star. How can he not be? Then we get to my number 2 star. I got to go with Starling Marte. I mean, how can it not be Marte? Marte 3 for 4 with the home run, the 4 RBIs, the 2 runs scored. Francisco Lindor, number 3 star. Lindor is just Mr. Consistent, baby. This guy now continues the franchise record for the New York Mets, now with 8 consecutive games with an RBI as a shortstop. No other shortstop in Mets history has done what Francisco Lindor is doing this season, not just with this streak, but again, he's on a 100 RBI pace, folks. Like, can we appreciate that, please? That's amazing. Luis Guillorme 2 for 4 with the RBI and the 3 runs scored. Then you also have Mark Hanna 2 for 4 with 3 runs scored. Just this entire team, guys, they're in sync. They are taking advantage, and you know damn well that even when the Mets are down, regardless on if it's a lesser opponent like the Nationals or really far more superior opponent, even like the Giants or whoever it may be, that this team is going to rally. It's not going to be for lack of effort with the offense. Really, the only thing that could hold them back right now is their pitching, because the offense is surely there. And pitching-wise, Steven Pearson, again, had a solid outing. Called Holderman, pitched 1.1, gave up his first earned run of the year, but he has a sub-1 ERA on the year because Holderman has been that awesome for the Mets. He pitched 8 scoreless innings for the Amazons entering today's outing. Unfortunately, I gave up that first run, but that was inevitable. It was going to happen at some point. Jason Shreve with a nice little bounce back outing for him with a 1 scoreless inning, including a strikeout. And then Steven Nagosic, who looked like he got hurt right towards the end of the game, stayed in the game. However, 2 scoreless innings. Steven Nagosic, guys, has now pitched roughly 9 scoreless innings for the Mets to start the year for them. Nagosic, Holderman, these guys have come out of nowhere, and they're blossoming, and they're being huge Swiss Army knives for this Mets team in this lineup, but specifically coming out of this bullpen. It's taking off the load on the shoulders of the other veterans in that pen, and man, oh man, has Nagosic been impressive. Really happy with what I've seen from him and Holderman alike, and hopefully this type of production definitely continues, am I right? But guys, going through the Mets lineup as a whole before I then start to answer your comments, questions, and concerns, and then, of course, that's where I'll be cutting these off for people on replay. Before I do, I want to shout out all you guys again for being in here. Thank you all so much, my 450 to 500 plus viewers right now in the live show. Don't hesitate from smashing a like and subscribe on, and we can try to get to 300 plus likes by the end of the show to my roughly 500 viewers. That really mean a lot to me, so continue smashing a like and subscribe on. And, of course, subscribe to this show if you haven't already for the most consistent Mets content here on YouTube. The largest Mets platform here on YouTube, not directly affiliated with the Mets or SNY. The grind never stops here on WardyNYM, folks. And trust me when I say it's only the beginning. We have a massive announcement coming over the next week or so here on the channel that I think all you guys are going to be ecstatic about. So, guys, let's now get into it, folks. Let's look through the lineup as a whole because we broke down Wardy's top 5, but more guys produced offense outside of what you see here through the 5. We talked about Guillorme, Marte, Lindor, Alonso 1 for 4 with the solo shot and the RBI. Jeff McNeil went over 5 today. Didn't get an RBI technically, but I felt he was a little deserving there because of the double play. I understand that was fielder's choice. Regardless, so Jeff had a bad day at the plate. I would have expected a little bit better because he had phenomenal numbers entering tonight's game against Eric Fetty. But Jeff is also a guy that's not used to the DH role, even though that, yes, I understand that DH, you think it would help you offensively. that isn't the case with everyone, especially a guy like Jeff that's always out there making plays defensively too. But also as well, Jeff isn't 100% healthy in my opinion, so those factors go in. Either way, over 5. Eduardo Escobar went 1 for 5 with that single and a run scored. Mark Cannon talked about him. Nick Plummer talked about him. And Tomasino had a solid day at the plate, 1 for 4 with a run scored too. So overall, there's very little to complain about if you're a New York Mets fan right now. Very little to complain about if you're a New York Rangers fan as well. Shout out to my Rangers fans once more in the chat. Love you guys. If you're an Islanders fan, I apologize. If you're a Devils fan, I apologize. If you're any type of fandom that isn't a New York Ranger fan, that you would be upset by me being a Rangers fan, I do apologize, but I'm going to enjoy this win, not just for the Rangers, but of course for my Mets. But guys, let's start to answer all your comments, questions, and concerns. The Braves lost, the Marlins lost, and the Phillies lost tonight, folks. I genuinely do not think that this night could have went any better for a fan like myself. I know that many of you guys feel the exact same way. So let's get in those comments. But again, for people on replay, which is none of you guys on the live stream right now, let me know your thoughts down below. How do you feel about the Mets winning in impressive fashion, to say it lightly? Quite the understatement. 13-5 to start things off in this series, a 3-game set against the Nationals. Who was your biggest takeaway for the game? Like I said, for me, it was simply Nick Plummer. How can it not be? Plum Dog, Tricky Nick, just getting the job done for the Mets. Is so young and yet blossoming like this. We might just have ourselves, again, not just that power lefty bat right before our eyes without even acquiring someone, but two, I said this before and I'll say it again. The Cardinals gave up on Randy Arozarena early. They gave up on Adolis Garcia early. Maybe, just maybe, they gave up on Nick Plummer early as well, because he's clearly showing early on that he has more production than maybe what the Cardinals gave him credit for. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How you feeling? Mets win 13-5. You'll love to see that. Guys, let's start to answer your comments, questions, donations now. But again, for people on replay, this is where I'll be cutting things off.